the Me and Samuel Show edition of the Whatchamacallit podcast. Or Whatchamacallit.
Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of What Do You Call It podcast. I'm your host GP. I'm back from Cardiff. I had a fantastic time. I do remember most of it. During the day I had a few beers, but I remember all the show. I saved up before the show, so it was brilliant. But I met a few new faces that I've been talking to online but never met before. Met a few wrestlers. WrestleFest was a bit of a shit show. The convention, you know, it is what it is. I noticed they deleted their social media now. But if you have any issues, do chase them up in terms of refund. Just keep doing it. That's what I'm doing. But overall, fantastic weekend. Great show. Gunther, Sheamus, stole the show. But enough about my weekend. Just because I've been going on and on and on about social media, I had to squeeze it in the intro. Anyway, today's guest is a West Yorkshire-based pro wrestler. Please give up for Anderson North. How you doing today, mate? You all good?
I'm good, mate. I've been catching up on Clash of the Castle myself as well, and Gunther, Sheamus. Oh my god! I completely agree. That was just
incredible.
Oh my god, two big lads doing big lad stuff, and just Sheamus's pale chest. Just oh god, I was red after that.
I found myself just applauding. I was just like, more. Oh,
yeah, please, I want more of that inside me, please. But yeah, I'm good. I'm a little sore from my workout earlier. But aside from that, yeah, I'm good, mate. No major complaints.
No, good, man. Good. We had like a nice chat before, so hopefully we can carry it over onto the interview as well, sort of bounce with each other as well. Just because you mentioned the workout, I'm actually just going to jump into your workout because I know you sort of go on about it on your social media, and I mean that in a positive way. So I want to mix it with you being a metalhead, which you put in your bio, and being a weightlifter. So I want to know, when you are working out, what are sort of your go-tos in terms of music? What do you find yourself always listening to and working out the most? What gets you pumped?
A lot of the time I do listen to a lot of it's called power metal in the gym. So if anyone's ever listened to my favorite band, and I know a lot of the metal community kind of has divisive opinions on this band because of how, quite frankly, cheesy they are. But one of my favorite bands, possibly my favorite band, is Manowar, and they just have loads of songs about like fantasy and, you know, wildebeest and angels and all that kind of thing, and about the subject matter of metal itself. So I listen to a lot of that kind of metal, but I also do listen to some angry stuff, which is usually if I've had a bad day and I just want to hear people playing fast solos and sounding really angry. It just really pumps me up, and that a lot of power metal and probably like thrash metal as well to get me through my workouts.
So no S Club 7 then or anything like that?
Well, you say that. Music's been a big part of my life for a time, and I'm not adverse to listening to a bit of like late 80s and 90s cheesy pop music, because that is kind of partially what I grew up with as well.
Yeah.
I've been into rock and metal like most of my life, but as a teen, because I'm 35 in like 2 months, so like the Spice Girls, S Club 7 era, that was kind of like, you know, peak 90s music.
Yeah.
So I defy anyone who, if they hear some Spice Girls coming on in the pub, not to, if they're a similar age to what I am, thinking, fucking hell, that's Spice Girls.
Yeah.
And then they'll start singing along and tapping the foot.
And you know as well when they're lying as well, they pretend not to know it, but like, okay, your foot's telling the story.
I'm not going to pretend that I'm too cool to start like nodding my head to it. Not that it's something I'd go out of my way to listen to now, but I'm like, oh bloody hell! I remember, you know, having this song on cassette. That's right, cassette. I'm that old.
Nope, I had them as well. Virgin Megastore, HMV after school. Yep.
Oh, great! But yeah, metal's been a big part of my life, really, in terms of my growth as a person as well as the music I enjoy. So,
but another thing that I'm going to assume is a big part of your life, just because that's how I know you, is professional wrestling. What actually got you into professional wrestling? in the first place?
Well, I'm sorry if I diverge a little bit on
Mate,
tangents
it's
here,
all
but
good. It's all good.
do you know what? It's kind of a similar thing about what got me into metal. Really, it's I remember watching it really early as a kid.
Mhm.
I think like my first memory, like my first wrestling memory, was probably seeing the Undertaker. And when he made his entrance as this big scary dude just walking really stoic to the ring and just
Yeah,
chokes on, and then it's just
just slowly walking to the
yeah,
ring.
very
Children just either scared or just in shock, or just everyone is just in awe of this man that is
yeah,
supposed to be dead. But
yeah. It's this kind of this pro wrestling magical zombie wizard who chokeslams people. But then I just started progressively watching wrestling through that as it came towards like the tail end of the golden era, and then went into the more athletic era, and then like the attitude era, which I'm of that age where like the attitude era is when I formed a lot of my like preferences in terms of wrestling,
yeah,
and it was just as a fan, I remember watching these as people like real life superheroes to me. Quite ironic we should mention superheroes considering my t-shirt.
yeah,
But they were all these like real life superheroes to me, and they were performing all these incredible like feats of strength and agility and stuff. And then as I started getting older, like into my late teens, then 20s, and now in my 30s, I started appreciating like a lot more of like the athletic side of it, and
yeah.
some more of like the psychology and stuff like that. To the point where like one of my favorite wrestlers of all time is Ken Shamrock. Because
Nice.
because the guy like legitimate. I didn't find out until well after that it was actually was. I think I found out probably when I was about like 16, 17 or something. That it was actually in like a formative part of like cage fighting, UFC,
Yeah,
and mixed martial arts.
actually did have an MMA background, not just trained in
Yeah,
jiu-jitsu for like a
which
week,
is
and then
like
you mentioned on
my
commentary.
yeah. My background is martial arts and rugby as well, so I've got a extensive martial arts
Now you're a
background.
hard bastard then.
well, I'm not saying anything. Just don't leave town. But I really appreciated that, and I personally think he was really underrated as one of like people who should have been really pushed.
Yeah,
But he
no, I
looked like he
agree.
could legitimately murder you.
And just
Like
how he
back,
disappeared out of nowhere, just literally in
yeah,
'99,
it
threw the
did.
joke off bit, and then that was it. Never heard of him
Yeah,
again
and then
in
he
WWE.
turned up in like early days of TNA,
Yeah,
and but he everything in the ring for me, it's kind of it was very deliberate and looked like he could legitimately tear your ankle off when he put
yeah.
the ankle lock in. So I really appreciated that. But I'd always wanted to be a pro wrestler, and I'm 5'6", I weigh about 185.
Hmm.
I describe my body type as can tell I lift weights, but can also tell I like pizza. Um, I'm never going to have a six pack, but I'm okay with that because I think I've got a naturally quite strong
Mm.
body frame anyway. But I always thought, I'm too short. I don't have a washboard stomach. I don't do anything. I'm not particularly well versed in being able to do loads of flippy stuff. Um, so I kind of writ it off. I'd always wanted to do it, but I thought, this is never going to happen.
Hmm.
And then a few years ago, it's be about 4 or 5 years ago now, I was just scrolling through some of my suggested events on Facebook, um, most of which, as you can imagine, were wrestling.
Yeah.
And I saw one that was fairly close to me at the time. It was like a maybe 30-minute bus journey away. And I went on the event. I thought, oh right, I can make that because it was a day off at the time. And then I noticed that they had a training facility attached, um, and their main training days were on Thursdays and Saturdays, and I had both of those days off from a shoot job. So I turned up. I messaged like the head trainers, like, do you accept like walk-ins or whatever? They did, and I turned up to my first training session, and after about I think it was about 9 or 10 months of training. I made my debut at on a rumble. I
Hmm.
think I was I think my entrance probably lasted longer than my appearance in the Rumble, but and then with that with that place, I ended up pretty much appearing on like every show, like every monthly show for about 18 months solid. And then with the job I had at the time, Christmas time always made it a little bit harder for me to do shows. But I'd appeared a lot with them, and then I maybe only missed one or two after that, and then I kept appearing on the monthly stuff when COVID-19 hit, the first lockdown.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, which really that knocked my confidence a bit, because I felt I was just starting to come into my own, really.
Yeah.
And there was a couple of times like during the lockdowns where lockdowns was lifted and I could get a bit of training in there.
Bit of a yo-yo. Here you go. No, close again.
Yeah. And then since the world reopened again proper last year, I've kind of taken that as a bit of a step back to really focus on who I want to be as a wrestler and as a person as well, how I want to represent and present myself. And that's why, and since the world's reopened back up, I've not really taken any bookings, but I have appeared on, I think it's 2 or 3 of the house shows that where I currently train run. Well, film it and edit and whatnot, and I think I've been doing all right with that. And it's a kit. They've been where I currently train, Pursuit Pro Wrestling, based in Sheffield. They've been super patient with me, considering I say my top confidence has taken a massive knock and taken a slight divergence here, but it's something I feel is quite important to talk about. Last year, I had, I think it was last November, I had a major mental breakdown. There was a load of things going on, and then things pile up, and then the straw that breaks the camel's back sends you into a spiral. And since then, I've taken a few knockbacks since then, so my training hasn't been as much as a priority as it usually would be. But since then, I've picked myself up. Now rearranging my life to a point where I'm in the space of the next month or two, I'll be able to go back to training every single week, getting myself back on the house shows, and then getting back to taking those bookings and appearing and wrestling more regularly.
I mean, I'm sorry to hear that, and I'm glad to hear that you have bounced back. Mental health. I've kind of raised that, sort of discussed that on the show before. So for you to sort of open up, I appreciate that. But for you to also be on the up, and so continue the training to be on the shows again. That is awesome to hear. I want to backtrack a little bit on the training part of wrestling, because you mentioned you saw shows and you saw there was an open training, but I want to hear what were some of the biggest challenges that you've encountered in the training, and also on the first day that you were there, what were sort of your first impressions, in the school itself?
I start with my first impressions was, oh my God, this is actually happening. That's actually a wrestling ring over there. I'm actually going to be stepping into that rather than, being behind the barricade and seeing other people do the things. And there was I've met a lot of cool people through wrestling, but my initial thing was I'm really bad at meeting new people. I'm just terrible with it.
Yeah.
But I've met so many cool people through wrestling, and sometimes I'll talk to them semi-regularly. Sometimes I'll go months without talking to them. There's some people I've met that I consider being integral to my wrestling journey, who I've barely spoken to since in the past couple of years, but I still consider them integral to me. And whether they think the same of me, it doesn't matter. I consider them integral. Challenges for me. I think probably my biggest challenge is, as an autistic person, I tend to learn differently than other people. So sometimes, bless Liam Slater over at Pursuit Pro Wrestling, he's the head coach over at PPW.
His name's been mentioned on this podcast more than once already.
But
All good stuff. All good stuff. Don't worry.
Yeah, absolutely top bloke, and bless his patience. I've got to say, because the amount of times I've like kind of stopped like a training session and gone, can I just maybe like have that explained differently, or maybe can I get in the ring so you can talk me through it or whatever? And absolutely top guy. Nathan Black as well over at he owns PPW. He's the amount of times I've gone, Nathan, can I just pick your brain about something for a minute and we'll go talk about something, and he'll explain it to me in a way that I need explaining to. So I think like that, the biggest challenge is probably me learning differently.
Yeah.
I like my process.
Everyone's different, man. I mean, it's just not. I mean, I personally did one lesson and I was like, nope, not for me. And I was at Dropkicks Academy like many years ago.
But yeah, I'd say that's probably the main challenges I face like within the training. Currently, my main challenge is that my working pattern is making my training limited, where I feel like I'm ready to get back to it week in, week out. But my working pattern is not allowing for it at the moment, and it's really frustrating.
Shoot job. So I love when wrestlers say shoot job, just makes me laugh.
Yeah. Do you know, I heard another wrestler, I think it was probably I think I was watching or listening to a podcast, I think it might have been Ivy, doing it, and I know I heard someone say shoot job and it just stuck in my brain and I can't help but make it like refer to it ever.
But I'm so used to it, man. I mean, hopefully you can sort of, have a little word, negotiate, maybe sweet talk someone, and then sort of you can continue.
I'm actually looking. I've actually got a couple of interviews and jobs lined up, which might allow me to move to Sheffield, which will make it a lot easier in terms of my training.
Oh, that'd be awesome, man. I've got to ask because I like talking about films as well. Not all about wrestling, like I mentioned about the metalhead stuff and music is what you train to. But just because I see the Wolverine T-shirt, I asked Joel Hart about in terms of ranking, superhero films. I want to ask you, just because you got the T-shirt on Wolverine, if you can rank the X-Men films, top to bottom, not including the cartoons. You can include Deadpool, but I think that's cheating.
Right. I'm going to be a bit cheeky and rank and put the Wolverine where it's set in Japan in there. I would say.
Really? What, above Logan?
No, I would say Logan first.
Yeah.
The Wolverine second.
I love the Wolverine. That was brilliant.
The Wolverine, I just love that. There's a particular fight scene where he's against one of the samurai guys, like one of the big bads, and it's just so well choreographed. I
really liked it.
I fucking love good fight choreography in a film. It's probably a martial artist in me, but
the Wolverine film, which was, I think that's going to be low in your list, but that film we'll get to in a minute when you mention it. But yeah,
but then it's probably something like Days of Future Past.
I did like it, but second time watched it,
it was a good film, but it was the exact same plot as Terminator 2.
It fucking was, wasn't it?
It is, right? It fucking is. An indestructible badass with a metal skeleton goes back in time to save a floppy-haired young boy and go back to the future. It's the exact same fucking plot.
That's what was missing. It was a fucking song, wasn't it? Fucking Logan going up to Magneto, come with me. You want to leave? Like,
although I'm not sure. Magneto being played by an Austrian would probably set the best precedent.
Continue.
For nostalgia value, I think the first X-Men film's got to be up there as well.
Yeah, I realise it.
X2 wasn't bad, but I think it was more filler than killer.
I rank it very highly, so this one I disagree with you on a little bit.
Although X2 did have one of the absolute best scenes in superhero cinema history, where Wolverine's taken out like those paramilitary guys who break into the house and then just turns to the students like, "You okay? You all right? Now I've stabbed all these guys in the face. Are you cool?" I don't know where I'd put the rest of them, but I think I would put Last Stand very close to the bottom. Probably just one better.
What about First Class?
First Class.
I loved First Class. That's probably my top 2.
So there's a couple of the other spin-off films where I don't know quite where I'd rank them. Because it does depend on what mood I'm in the day.
I mean, what are your overall thoughts on, just because I mentioned it earlier, Wolverine, his first origin film?
Oh, the origin story. It had so much potential, but
it's shit.
It absolutely shot the bed.
Yeah, so bad.
It absolutely shot the bed. And ever since like the first X-Men film came out, all I wanted was a fucking great film where Wolverine and Sabretooth just have at each other for an hour and a half, and I take my brain out, watch two superheroes who heal really fast, just going at each other with a little bit of story in between.
But they just have to overcomplicate, like Apocalypse. What they did to that, like Apocalypse is one of the coolest designs I've ever seen, like as a villain.
Oh yeah, they absolutely
what they did to him. It's like, what the fuck is this? Looks like Ivan Ooze.
Oh, fucking Ivan. And that's cheating on that Power Rangers film, which, by the way, I watched again for a couple of weeks ago, and I'm like, it's the Highlander of Power Ranger films. Like,
right now,
it's so bad, it's good.
It's brilliant.
It's absolutely
maybe I have
brilliant.
the putty, just like I think my mum used to get fucked on me, like because I used to
But it is absolutely, it's brilliant. It's terrible, but it's brilliant.
Oh yeah. Yeah, nailed it. So bad it's good, but I won't take any criticism of it. I won't listen to it.
Oh no, not at all. Like I said,
I don't care what Roger Ebert thought about it in the 90s.
It's the Highlander of Power Ranger films. Because that's another film where it's absolutely awful, but it's great because it's awful. Because again, going on a film tangent here, I always make a point of watching the Highlander like every couple of months, because you've got a Scotsman playing a Spaniard when a Frenchman playing a Scotsman, and it's absolutely worth watching that film just to hear that Sean Connery go, "Well, let's see what you've learned, pendejo," and I'm like,
I don't remember Highlander that well, to be honest. I saw it as a kid, like when I was really young, but it's not one of those my way to rewatch.
It's the best worst film in the world, and it's got the perfect soundtrack because it's all Queen.
Not tonight, but like I will. Do you know what? Now you've got my head and a bit Queen. Like I can't complain. One more X-Men film I'm going to mention just before I get onto the wrestling and wrap it up. Dark Phoenix. I mean, I personally thought it was the worst X-Men film that they've ever done. The series was a pile of shit.
Oh, it was an absolute pile of dog shit. When the cartoon has done the Phoenix saga better than the film done them,
Dark Phoenix, and Apocalypse.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, I would agree with that, because I was a big fan of the cartoon as well in the 90s. So
the theme song.
And now that's in my head all day now. That's going to be in my head all night.
I listen to it like every couple of months, man. Just like just while I'm working.
No cartoon has a right to have a theme song that good.
So good.
So good, oh my god!
Oh, might have to use it for your intro when I do the. I've got a special note for my next guest, but I've already used it. I used it for Joel Jackson, and I don't think I'd like me using it for someone else. He might get jealous. Shout out to Joel, love you, mate. Jack. But no, that's good to have an X-Men chat. Sorry, I do like the X-Men films, but I'm glad they're in good hands now, because it's been a bit of a shit show, up and down, down. But
yeah, and I just hope, as great as Hugh Jackman was, I don't think he should come back purely because it's going to take more and more. It's going to take more and more makeup to make him look ageless.
Look what they've done with Arnold, like with trying to be Terminator. It's just let the guy stop trying to overcomplicate things as well. Oh, he's got rubber skin. He's old now. So fuck off. T2, stop ruining it.
And why? Terminator. We will get talking about wrestling again in a second. But why in Terminator Genesis? Why are you having a guy with a thick Austrian accent explain all of these really existential quantum physics like things?
Yeah, like they put more effort into that than they did in the actual story.
I'm a Terminator. I've got the polymer and alloys over here, and I want to go. God, forget my protein. Where's my protein?
I'm now friends with Sarah.
Me and Sarah are now friends. I don't know this. Yes, I'm going to do this. I'm going to shoot the other guy with an elephant gun.
John Connor. Oh, the John Connor been in my body. Oh, like it's just I had enough. Like, but yeah, if anyone hasn't seen these films, like we mentioned, X-Men, Highlander, Terminator, try your way, watch them, and follow Anderson North as well. But just a few more questions, and then I'll. So mostly just been about films and about X-Men. I love that though.
It's quite.
I love that. But in terms of your wrestling career you're at, because I think you sort of summed up like at the moment you're sort of slowly getting back into it now in terms of work that prevent you from doing it as much as you want to. But do you have any goals in terms of places you want to wrestle, people you want to wrestle? You know, is there anything that you have set in your mind that you will or want to do?
Goals. I'd love to. I'd love to wrestle as many places as possible. Because I want to make the most of my wrestling time while I've got it. Goals. I would love to be. I'd love to be on, or for one promotion at least. I would love to go, and I know some of the purer wrestling fans are going to absolutely hate what I'm about to say, probably. But I was a big fan of this now. I was a big fan of Peak Goldberg, and I would love to go on a Goldberg style winning streak at one point. Whether that'll actually happen or not, I don't know. And I'm not saying go for like 150, 60, 70 matches unbeaten, but I would love like a year-long winning streak where I just turn up, demolish
and
someone,
just start
and then
exaggerate your numbers like as the week goes on.
Oh yeah, I'm at 23 one week, and then it's at 72 the next week. No, I would love to like. So my finishing move is a sleeper hold. So you can hit it out of nowhere.
Yeah.
All you have to do is get someone the right. So
Davey boy, I would lock.
Yeah, just like choke them out, proper Taz mission style as well.
Yeah.
But no, I would love to go on a Goldberg style winning streak. Turn up, wreck someone in 5 to 9 minutes.
And not only that, you'd be pissing off modern day fans with being unbeaten, but you'd also be like doing this while doing sleeper holds, which is like a boring move to fans. Just the heat you would get for that would be
because and for me, I think the sleeper hold is one of like a big underrated move anyway, because anyone can hit it on anyone, and as somebody who's like got a martial arts background and been put in sleeper holds, like fucking hurt. So legitimately hurt. But I also know it would piss some people off. Like a guy who's only 5'6" is winning by submissions and going on a winning streak via submission.
Works for Taz.
Worked for Taz. If it works for Taz, why can't it work for me?
Exactly.
Another goal, man. I want to win a few titles. Who doesn't want to win a few titles? I would also. This is a little bit more ambitious and reaching a little bit, but I would like to use when I'm performing more regularly again, wrestling more regularly again. I would like to think that at some point I've been a positive influence on other autistic people who maybe thought their little dreams that they want to chase. Because like wrestling's always like been my dream. That was something I wanted to chase. I'd like to think that I've at some point, whether I've done it already or maybe it's coming in the future.
Even just one person,
just
comes up to you and says, "Look, thank you."
Yeah, just I'd like to think there's just one person I've had like a positive influence of. So, if I'm at a show or whatever, and like somebody's watching me, and they go, say it's a kid, Dad, he's autistic too. That would just that would.
No,
I
love
know
that,
that's a
man.
really soppy thing to kind
No,
of
it's
end on.
awesome, man. It's fucking awesome because I see it on your social media, like, and it's even in your bio that like autism awareness, and I love that. I mean, just to bring it just to make people aware, and like you said, that one person that might be shy or concerned about having it, he's in the ring, he's doing it. I have autism. What's stopping me?
Yeah, and I have two of the other two other podcasts that I've been on. They were specifically autism based. They found me because I use the hashtag quite a lot, and I made the point that a lot of time when people, and I've had it myself,
Mm-hmm.
people hear that you're autistic and go, "Oh, well, you must be really good at maths, then." I'm like, I am distinctly fucking average at maths. Like, it's, that I'm the worst autistic person ever because I am average at maths and I have a
Yeah.
passing knowledge of physics at
It's
best.
the stereotype. It's like I'm mixed race. I must be good at sports. No,
Oh
terrible.
yeah, clearly you're mixed race. You must be good at sports. Clearly, that's how it works. I bet you're really good at football. Oh, so yeah. And the thing is, I'm sure people mean it positively most of the time, but it's still like a stereotype as well. And I know, I was mentioning to you before we started recording that I listened to your interview with JPR and made the very valid point of like the diversity in wrestling and we're getting to the point now where there is more people of color, I think he said, and mixed race, black, Asian, whatever race. There's more ethnic diversity in wrestling now, and I think and gender diversity as well, which is great because like when people have said to me, "Oh, what do you think of intergender wrestling?" I'm like, "You mean wrestling?" Because that's what it is. It's just wrestling, and I don't know if this is true or not. But as far as I know, I think I know one other person in wrestling who's got Asperger's syndrome. But as far as I know, I don't know personally any other openly autistic wrestlers.
I can't think of any. Like top of my head. I mean, might try and be smart and Google it, but they might put it in results.
Yeah, if there is more openly autistic wrestlers, great. But
I mean, in the UK, I doubt it. I think you are the first. I mean, but I think I like that you don't use it as a gimmick either.
No, it's just this is who I am. I'm not gonna, I don't want to be going to the ring like pretending I'm Rain Man or anything. It's it's part of who I am. It's not, and it does define me in a way because if I wasn't autistic, I would be a completely different person. But I don't work it into my wrestling gimmick.
Yeah,
like when I'm in the ring, I'm like I said, I'm there to make people tap out.
and keep the Goldberg streak alive.
yeah, of course. Well, I'm bald. I've got a beard. What more do you need? Goldberg's clearly my dad.
I love it. Nah, I love it, man. I love it. But it's good that you're having awareness, and you are probably having an impact, but you just don't know it yet. But you'll have that one fan that comes up to you and be like, "Thank you," and then that bring a tear to your eye. Even though you'll probably be like, "Oh, I've just got onions." Like someone's cutting.
Yeah, it's onion chopping ninjas. But once I start getting back on shows more regularly and whatnot, I think that's going to be more and more of a possibility, or at least I hope it is.
Nah, that's awesome, man. That's awesome. Anderson, thank you so much for coming on. I think it's been a wicked chat. It's just been a different conversation as well, not just been all about wrestling, but just a very good conversation. Feels like we've been mates for ages, and I really like that. Where if the listeners want to find out. So let me try that again. If the listeners want to keep up to date with what you're doing and your wrestling career and just keep up to date in general, where can they find you on social media?
They can find me on Instagram. My handle on Instagram is AndersonNorth_Graps. Twitter is AndersonNorth87. And that's all my social media. I did used to have a Facebook, but I ended up deleting my Facebook last year. And
you're not missing out. It's a bit shy experience. I tend to use in terms of my podcast stuff on Twitter now and Instagram. Facebook's just, I don't know, a bit not my cup of tea. But that is what it is. But I'm not going to write about Facebook because it's what it is. No one cares. But Anderson, thank you so much for coming on. It's been a blast.
Thank you for having me.
No problem. Honestly, I'm glad you came on. It's been a conversation that I feel like I'm going to think about it a lot as well, and keep up to date as well, and maybe have part 2 as well. Talk about some more X-Men films and the cartoon, maybe. But for everyone
Maybe.
that's listened to this episode, thank you. There's going to be more episodes of What You Call It podcast coming out very soon. If you keep up to date with me on my social media in the description below, you'll be able to find out who I have lined up as well. But if you can subscribe and support this channel, that'd be awesome. So I can continue this fantastic podcast and have more guests and awesome chats like I've just had with Anderson North, and just keep supporting this channel. But for now, everyone, take care. Hello there. I've got a special announcement for my next guest.
Hello, my name is Rush Freeman. I am with the NWA. I am part of the Spectaculars. You can catch me on the What Do You Call It podcast right here.
Yeah, I heard.